Chicken. Today I'm making a video. I had a really good comment come up actually, which I thought is perfect to address for many people. I'm sure it's a question that many people will have in relation to blind spots, the third eye, and for someone that hasn't been initiated into third eye awakening, how can they identify blind spots, or in what way can they start looking into themselves and having these kinds of breakthroughs that when we have a blind spot revealed to us, the kind of a breakthrough that happens. So I really wanted to set the context of what a blind spot is. So basically, when we're expressing powers through the third eye, these shaktis, these powers are expressed from a space of oneness. They come from what we know, what is known as an enlightened space, or like a no thought zone. So it comes from a space of deep feeling connectedness with everything. And the one thing that will stop us from manifesting any power, or obviously keep us in any kind of powerlessness, are these blind spots. So blind spots and third eye awakening kind of go hand in hand. So if you're unable to express a power, or if you're kind of feeling stuck with something, then it is because of a blind spot. So before third eye awakening, actually, one of the I don't want to use the word groundwork, but one of the things that is really important to have established in yourself is this space of completion, from which you look through your third eye and are able to express powers after your third eye has been awakened. So this space of completion is kind of like the foundation off of which all of these powers will express. And if you have any kind of an incompletion, this will obviously stop powers from expressing themselves fully to you, even when you're trying to, for example, we're looking through our third eye. This happened to me when during my inner awakening, in my third eye, I just started looking through it and was playing around with it and had first started expressing these kinds of powers. Whatever was being shown through the third eye, there was so much self-doubt. I could not verbalize what was there. Even though many times it was correct, that self-doubt in me was actually a blind spot and an incompletion. But it was very difficult to see it for what it was. So what I would like to share for those that don't have their third eyes awakened just yet is to start understanding what is completion, what is the space of completion, why it's important to live in this space, and how we can start looking in and identifying any incompletions that we have now for when our third eye is awakened, so that we're able to express these shaktis much easier, and we're then able to recognize blind spots for what they are. I know I'm using a lot of different terms here, like completion, incompletion, blind spot, third eye awakening. This might be a little bit confusing. If it is, I do apologize. Maybe I'm not verbalizing it in the best way possible. So maybe I'll make another video again, kind of a little bit more in depth, because there's a lot that I want to share here right now. So an incompletion, understanding what that is. So we are perpetually complete unto ourselves each and every moment. So right now, as I am, nothing can be added to me, nothing can be taken away from me. This is this space of enlightenment. This is this space that we are always in, actually. Sorry, not space, I should rather say state. It's the state that we're always in, but we're not always aware of it because of our thinking mind. So this space of completion, this space of feeling connectedness with everything gets fragmented. We start seeing ourselves as a separate entity and a separate island from everyone else, usually from a very young age. There will be some incident that happens to us in our life where we see ourselves separate from everyone else. We start forming a judgment about us, about others, about life. This is what an incompletion is. So for example, the best way to identify any incompletion that you have is, like, you can do this right now. Actually, if you're watching this video, I really want you to do this just so you can grasp what it is that I'm talking about. And this is what you do in Inner Awakening for 23 days. Not for the full 23 days, but you really get into the nitty-gritties of how you're thinking the way you're thinking and why you're thinking the way you're thinking. You go through and unravel all of your conditionings. So if I were to ask you right now, write down one thing that you want to manifest for yourself. Be wild about it. It could be anything that you've always wanted. As a kid, growing up, right now, there's a burning desire that you have. And think big. Don't make it something like manifesting a cake or ice cream or something. But, you know, if you've always wanted to be a billionaire, pen that down. If you've always wanted to have a particular car, or if you've always wanted to have a particular house, or if there's any particular life, even if it's like you want to be enlightened, you want to be an avatar on this planet Earth right now, helping billions of people, pen it down. After you've penned it down, if you sit down and you look in, see, if you really believe that you can have this, things would already be underway, and more likely than not, you would have already either completely manifested this reality or been very close to completely having it. The fact that you don't have it, it means there's some thought current inside of you of impossibility. So if you were to look in and just pen down what all you believe about you and life, what all impossibilities are there when you're thinking about manifesting this reality. Just sit and pen this down. After you've penned these things down, you'll see that either there'll be a trend in your thinking, or there'll be some things that really stand out as significant thought currents that, see, for example, if you're feeling like one of the things that you might pen down is that it's not for me, life wouldn't support such a big dream for me. I can't get what I want, or life doesn't give me what I want. Whatever it is, this thought current, aside from affecting this manifestation of this reality, it will present itself in other dimensions of your life. Health, wealth, relationships. This thought current will be there in other areas. And this thought current hasn't come from nowhere. It's not like as a child one day you woke up and just decided that, okay, I suck. Life sucks. I just can't get what I want. There's certain events that would have happened which would have triggered this belief in you. So this is how we identify an incompletion. An incompletion is any emotional hangover from the past sitting in our present, affecting our future outcome and possibilities. So we carry these incompletions in our inner space in the present moment. Usually very unconsciously. They might be very, very deep. They might be very deep-seated. It might be something that's happened from a very early age, from maybe 2 or 3 years old. And it's left such an imprint in you, you've suppressed it. Because of that suppression, you obviously, so much time has passed, right? Without looking in and really seeing, okay, where have these feelings of impossibility come from? You're just carrying them in your inner space, and it's always creating this default future, default future, default future. The energy can't radiate through you the way it's supposed to. So when we're trying to manifest powers, when we're looking through our third eye, these same impossibilities will be there. Actually, you might even be carrying this impossibility straight away, that third eye awakening, it's not possible. Or if it is possible, it's not possible for you. So this is really the kind of like the groundwork of how you can start looking into yourself now and identifying what is there sitting in your inner space that needs attending to. It will bring you a lot of healing just by looking in and seeing why you're thinking the way you're thinking. So this is the first step. Then the next step of what we do in inner awakening is, and it's very in depth. I'm giving you a very basic, like the basic principle of completion here, and this will help heal you. Really, it's helped me so much. It's helped my my Purvashra mum, who's also now a sannyasi. She also was looking for some way to heal all of the pain that she had carried with her for so many years. And this was the only thing that really gave her any real release from all of the weight that she was carrying on her. So once you've identified where this incident that would have happened, which has created this cognition. See, there might have been many actually. This is okay. You can pen them all down. If you can try and remember from the earliest age, an incident that will be burning in your memory, something that really left you powerless, where you've created an idea about yourself and others and life. If you pen all of these things down, the next step is you then get a mirror. So after penning these incidents down in great detail, when I say great detail, I mean if you can remember any smells from the time, if you can remember what you were wearing, what others were wearing, any loud noises, whatever is there in your inner space, it will be quite vivid. Even if it's not vivid, whatever you can remember, just pen it down. The next step is you get a mirror. And then this is how the completion process starts. You get a mirror and you connect with yourself. So you look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror, and you connect with yourself at whatever age you were when this incident happened. And while you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you relive this incident. So there's a big difference between reliving and remembering. Remembering is, I am a 33-year-old woman sitting in this body right now. I'm thinking back of what happened when I was, say, 5 years old, when I saw my mum die in a car accident. I'm just using this as an example. Remembering the events is just me sitting here having judgments of, oh, no one came to help straight away. I should have done more. Why didn't I do enough at that time? I could have ran for help, and maybe the whole situation could have taken a turn for better, or whatever is there. This is you having judgments and thinking back on the incident. We don't want that. You want to relive the incident. So be that 5-year-old that is there. You have to be that 5-year-old that has the same cognitions that a 5-year-old would have. So it's reliving. You have to relive to relieve all of this pain that's inside of you. Pain, frustration, jealousy, whatever is there that needs release, which is not in your inner space. So you relive this incident in the mirror, and whatever comes up, just simply allow it to come up. If you want to cry, cry. If you have to scream, scream. If you start hitting things, hit things. Whatever it is that's coming out of you, just allow it. That in any moment of great powerlessness, when we feel that a situation is overwhelming us, our innate tendency is, see, this fight or flight. A lot of times we shrink out of powerlessness and we suppress these feelings inside of us. We don't know what to do. You know, I had an incident from primary school where one of my teachers, I was sitting around having it's grade 3 or something, and as a kid I wanted to play. I wasn't interested in great projects or whatever, and our teacher gave us this assignment on the solar systems. We had to create a project about, you know, the planets and whatever, and I was too interested in playing at that time. I was not interested in making a project, so I left it to the last minute. I grabbed some A4 notepad, and in pen I scribbled and drew some things, and at the last minute I handed it in, and I thought nothing of it. I didn't really care. Like I said, my priorities in grade 3 were playing outside and Barbie dolls and whatever was there. So we were sitting in this circle in class like we normally would, and the teacher, usually when this happens, she would bring out a book, and it would be like a story time sharing or something like that. So I'm sitting there with my friends all around me, and all of a sudden she called out my name, and she pulled out this book. And in this book, she was saying, see, my perception of this whole incident was that she was angry. From what I could see in her facial expressions and what I could see, like the tone here in the tone of her voice, to me, I felt that she was very angry at that point in time. And she was singling me out. So I felt very like a deer in the headlights, so to speak. So she went through this notebook of mine, and she was telling the kids how this is the worst project she's ever seen. She doesn't want anyone to do anything like this ever again. She never wants to see this kind of sloppy work. And in that moment when this event started happening, I felt like it's the first time I ever felt like I want to die. It was like the idea of dying wasn't there, but that deep shrinking happened. I felt so powerless. I was like on the spot. I didn't know how to defend myself. All of my friends are around me. It was completely unexpected. I remembered thinking, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Can this just stop? And I felt like I just want to sink into the ground. This innate, tremendous shrinking started happening. And she went through this whole, my project book, my notebook. That wasn't it. She then went and she took out a project book of my best friend at that time, and she had obviously made great effort. She got a big project book, and obviously had a cousin or someone help her, or family help her, so it had glitter and colors, and each page had one different planet and explanations. And then she was saying how this is how a project should be, and this is what you should be doing, and this is what she likes to see. And so this was where this tremendous insecurity and comparison pattern started from. See, this event has happened. I've suppressed many of these things. I remember going home from school that day, and I cried and I cried and I cried. I locked myself in my bedroom. I remember my grandma tried knocking on the door and asking what happened. I felt so humiliated. I didn't want to share it with anyone. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so ashamed of myself. So I just buried it deep within me. And I carried this. See, it might not seem like a big incident. I know people have gone through tremendous trauma in their lives. Tremendous. But for me, this incident had such impact and weight. And I simply carried it with me, right? So until I went to Inner Awakening and saw that this is sitting in my inner space, and relived and allowed a lot of this suppressed emotion to come out, I was just carrying it there inside of me. And this is what you'll be doing for many, many situations that have happened, many events that have happened in your life. So this is one aspect of identifying where we have an incompletion, and this is where your healing will start. And this will also help when your third eye is awakened for expressing powers, and then being able to identify blind spots. Without being able to identify incompletions that you have inside of you first, identifying blind spots is kind of like, in order to identify a blind spot, you need to have to kind of be awakened first, right? So you need your third eye awakened. This much is very clear. But this is the groundwork that you should establish beforehand. And I want to invite everyone, you have this amazing opportunity to actually have your third eye awakened on the 26th and 27th of this month. Swamiji is doing a webinar where he's connecting with centers worldwide, and he will be giving initiations. We had this done recently here, direct from Bengaluru Adinam, with many centers worldwide, with tremendous success. So without him having to, usually when Swamiji gives initiation, he actually touches this point in us on the third eye, and then that activates it. without him having to actually physically touch, people have been expressing powers all around the world. So I want to invite you to actually receive this third eye initiation. Please start this groundwork on identifying any incompletions that you have. I'll have to share more videos because there's actually, see, this is like one layer of seeing how you've been conditioned to think the way you do, and this is going to bring tremendous healing to you. So if you can start doing this, and I can make a few more videos on other ways that you can like start healing other dimensions of your life, you'll see how much you are able to express powers, and how much the third eye, once it's awakened, will start showing you is there. So this has been kind of a lengthy video. I'm really sorry. I hope you have the patience to have hung in there and listened to what I've had to share. I'll leave the link for this upcoming webinar, and I really encourage everyone to register and attend. You can literally have third eye awakening from the comfort of your local center. You don't have to come here to India. I do recommend everyone come for inner awakening though, simply because of how much healing you'll receive. It gives you the perfect ambience and the perfect setting to go through all of these incompletions, to go through all of these, like even the darkest corners of your soul. There's things lurking there that once you start completing with these big events, you'll see like an onion, there's smaller things that are also there inside of you. And the more you start healing, obviously the more vibrancy, energy you have, that joy for life and sharing with others, and all of these aspects will be there. So I'll continue sharing more about blind spots, because I'm having so many breakthroughs myself. I just want to keep sharing. And any other questions and comments that you might have about this video, I really hope it's made sense. If it's too much to digest, leave me a question and then I'll try and kind of go a bit more in depth for you. Alrighty, so thank you so much. I will definitely speak to you all again very soon. Thank you. Nityanandam.